You are listening to The Burning Truth. Ladies and gentlemen, dude and dudettes, Matt Burns is here, and I will be stating it is WrestleMania weekend. And I can honestly say we've had some fantastic shows in the build-up and whatnot. But I will get to them shortly. But and must get on with the show because we've got plenty to talk about. Potentially in regards to this weekend, as it's technically the biggest weekend for wrestling, with it being WrestleMania weekend, and tonight is the night of WrestleMania, or early hours in the morning, Monday morning, depending on where you are. For the UK, it's Monday morning, or potentially midnight. However, but it will be a absolutely fantastic night. Plenty of twists and turns and whatnot, because we've already had the plenty of twists and turns from some of the previous nights and some spectacular memories as well. Now, let's get on with pretty much the show. Got plenty to discuss. We've got like the Big Show, to deal with the Big Show. A bit of news from Impact Wrestling, and this might come to a shock to some. Something that's happened at WrestleCon, the WWE Hall of Fame, NXT TakeOver New Orleans. We're going to have to touch a bit of the WrestleMania subject, and also some details of an upcoming show that will be coming up next week. Oh, in the upcoming week. And also some news that actually happened, if I'm not mistaken, last night as well. But let's get down to business. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with some news on WWE, which is Big Show. Now, I will state that previously, I may, if I haven't or not, I assumed that he might have quietly retired and whatnot. If I have stated this, I do apologise. I was it was misconformed. The rumour wasn't true, because the greatest thing about it is Big Show isn't retired and has recently re-signed a brand new contract. And as he re-signed that new contract, if I'm not mistaken, he also inducted a Hall of Famer as well, being Mark Henry. And I'll get on to Mark Henry a bit later, because there's also supposed rumours that he's going to be taking some time off as well. But it's great to see that Big Show isn't retired, and he has re-signed a new contract, because he has got plenty to give still. And who knows, he could end up doing some more work with Braun Strowman. Who knows, he could even be the mystery tag partner, which some are speculating. But at the moment in time, we don't know. Now, I know this week, with the news today, it's going to be a bit more scattered than usual. Instead of me going from subject to subject, it's going to be here, there, and everywhere, because plenty has happened. We've got plenty to talk about. But I'm going to be now transferring the topic over to Impact Wrestling. Now, the news I'm giving that is supposedly coming out in regards to Impact Wrestling is that Alberto El Patron has been terminated by Impact Wrestling, and there's been a statement that's been he's been the statement stating is Impact Wrestling announced today that it has terminated its agreement with Alberto El Patron effectively immediately. Now, I'm not sure if that was actually today, as in today, but it's more likely yesterday. This news is possibly so. It's not actually today, so it's going to be April 7th, 2018 that his contract's been terminated. Now, according to previous reports, supposedly Alberto no-showed the weekend Impact Wrestling versus Lucha Underground event, which has led to speculation in regards to his status with the company. But there's also been rumours that Alberto could have been unwell, sick, or that he no-showed the event. Well, because which he was involved in the press conference that did take place earlier in the afternoon. Now the question is, if he hasn't turned up, in regards to it, have they let him go because he's possibly no-showed them or not? However, we don't know what the full news is. Potentially, we've got to wait for more to come out. But in regards to it, supposedly it's been earlier on yesterday, potentially PWInsider.com also reported that Alberto did not make his scheduled appearance for Impact at WrestleCon in New Orleans, which could also be another reason why they might have terminated his agreements effectively immediately. Now, if it is that he has just no-showed, I will state I can understand Impact Wrestling doing this as possibly as a way to punish Alberto El Patron, stating, yeah, you are a former WWE superstar and whatnot, Mr. Alberto Del Rio, as he was known in WWE. But no showing events is, if you've agreed to turn up, you do turn up. You do not just no show it. And if it is that you can't turn up, have a good reason. However, if it does come out that he did have a valid reason and it was forgiven, then potentially Impact Wrestling could come under fire in regards to the fact that he did mention the reason why and everything. But only time will tell in regards to that when more gets revealed later on. Now, moving on from that subject, we've had a incident that's actually happened at WrestleCon, which actually involves Harry Smith being involved in an incident with Jake Roberts at WrestleCon. Apologies for the cough. Now, it's been reported by PWInsider.com that Harry Smith was involved in an incident with WWE Hall of Famer Jake Roberts at WrestleCon, with supposedly Harry Smith reportedly approaching Roberts at his vendor table and without speaking threw a hot cup of coffee in Roberts' face. Security quickly dove onto the area, cleared out the area, but Smith was said to have left the arena before police could speak with him. It is still unknown what may have, some of the details may be still unknown in regards to what might be the cause in regards to the incident, what sort of instigated this, and whatnot. So, as soon as we get some information in regards to that, we'll hopefully, get that revealed potentially. Actually, just getting possibly some news now, which I'm just double checking. Now, supposedly, this is some news from WrestleZone. WrestleZone spoke with David Boy Smith Jr., Harry Smith, regarding the incident earlier in regards to the hot coffee being thrown into the face of Harry Smith. Supposedly, according to Harry, Roberts refused to apologise to him for his disparaging comments he made of his father, British Bulldog David Boy Smith, in various podcast appearances. And Harry went to confront Roberts at the WrestleCon table about it. Roberts declined the conversation. Once Roberts declined to talk it out, Harry then asked to step outside, settle the issues with a fight, and at which point Roberts began to swear and told Harry to fuck off. Harry then supposedly threw the cup of coffee in Roberts' face. Harry claims Roberts' daughter then tried to fight him and said that Jake and his daughters were acting inappropriate and wanted to start a scene. Harry also claims that Roberts had offered him drugs at the 2012 WrestleCon, and that was another issue that he had problems with Roberts about. Now, we don't know the full story in regards to this and whatnot, but this is supposedly one side of the conversation, so that take it with a pinch of salt until we get the other side and we get both sides of the story. So just to keep everyone up to date in regards to that situation. So we do have one side of the story. I'm not picking sides in regards to it. as much as I can understand Harry Smith being upset in regards to it, either way, as much as he might have just told him to fuck off. We do apologise for the language and whatnot. One thing I will state, what might have escalated even more is the fact that Harry threw the coffee into his face. What could have been a possible better solution would have been possibly just walking away from the situation and whatnot, and possibly calming himself down, and possibly reapproaching and trying again. But if it's happened multiple times, I can understand frustration. It can get the better of people, and whatnot. It's got the better of me at times. It happens. It happens. Tempers flare and whatnot. But sometimes, usually in these sorts of situations, cooler heads do prevail. Right. Now, with some of that out the way, let's move on to the WWE Hall of Fame. Now, I can't go into full details of the WWE Hall of Fame and whatnot, and just go, spoiler this, spoiler that, spoiler that, spoiler that. I don't want to spoil anything, so in regards to the following topics I'm going to be mentioning, which up next is going to be the Hall of Fame, I'll be discussing some of it, but not all of it. But if anybody's interested in watching it, I recommend you check it out on the WWE Network for just $9.99. Please, Vince, help me out here. But and whatnot. But the WWE Hall of Fame was absolutely fantastic. They've had some big names this year and whatnot. Fantastic to see the Dudleys being inducted. I'm very happy with that, especially as they stated that they're supposedly the first ECW originals to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And what was also nice is the fact that the Dudleys didn't have to do this, but they actually called up the Hardys and Edge and Christian onto the stage just to state that if it wasn't for these guys, they wouldn't be there and whatnot. Absolutely class act, fantastic, and I will state there's plenty of funny stories being mentioned on it and whatnot. So, but I will state, if anybody's interested in watching it, I do recommend that you do check it out on the WWE Network and whatnot. It's a fantastic event as to go through many, many stories. Got like Hillbilly Jim and whatnot. We've got the Ultimate Warrior Award. Jeff Jarrett, very humbling that one was, because especially with I will state Jeff does make a small mistake and even has to correct himself. Possibly not going to be the best way to upset, probably may upset Vince, but at least he corrected himself and apologised for it and whatnot. It might be just a one-time deal, but it was a bit of a class act thing and whatnot. And the main guy being Bill Goldberg, being the last one in. He had some stories to tell, and even stated he wanted to be in the NFL Hall of Fame. But even he stated the payoff between the NFL Hall of Fame and the WWE Hall of Fame, nothing in comparison. WWE Hall of Fame is more rewarding from the message. That was the message he was potentially giving. And what I also thought was interesting was the fact that you got Paul Heyman basically inducting him into the WWE Hall of Fame. What's interesting there is you got a ECW, you got a former owner and runner of ECW inducting one of the top major WCW stars, and ECW and WCW used to hate each other and whatnot, but it was so respectful. And I will state the way each induction was done. Shout out for Ivory getting in, Molly Holly inducting Ivory and whatnot. Fantastic. I can honestly say absolute credit to all the people who were involved for the WWE Hall of Fame. Absolute credits. Jimmy Hart turning up as well to do some introduction. Jerry the King Lawler introducing people who were doing the inducting and whatnot. Absolute all round great show. I will state it. It's a good long watch, but the stories that they do today are absolutely fantastic. And one thing I will state, Jeff, well done for mentioning one guy that does, mentioning some of the stories of one guy that should be in the Hall of Fame, Owen Hart. And I will state, you will see Edge and Christian on more than one occasion, but you'll need to watch the WWE Hall of Fame to find out. And the last thing I will state, the last reference, and I know I might have given more than what I originally planned. Mark Henry brings something back, which has John Cena's collar all ruffled, AJ Styles, possibly even Shinsuke, depending, and Lesnar and Roman Reigns, depending on certain situations and whatnot. But if you want to see that, I do recommend you check it out. The WWE Hall of Fame for this year, absolutely brilliant class and whatnot. Now, moving on to the massive event that happened last night, which was NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Now, normally I would be right up there watching it myself there and then, but unfortunately I was actually scheduled to be elsewhere. Unfortunately, plans were already made and whatnot. So with them plans being set in stone, I couldn't exactly watch it. I've had to watch it today. So yes, I know. I don't know how I've done it. I've managed to get nothing spoiled, and I will state, what an absolute event! What an event! And it's going to be damn hot. I will state, NXT, every time you kill it. Every time you do a takeover, you kill it. Absolutely knock it out of the park. It's amazing what you do. Now, what I'm just going to be stating is, I'm just going to be mentioning two matches right now for you. There is some twists, turns, surprise wins, some that you might predict and whatnot, but I do recommend you check out NXT TakeOver New Orleans. Now, these two matches I would consider a contender for match of the night. However, I will state which one is match of the night out of the two. The first one being the 6-man ladder match to crown the NXT North American champion, which had a number of combatants involved in the match. And I will state, absolute fantastic match, and for me it was just amazing, simply amazing, which for the debut of the NXT North American Championship, what a way to do it, because straight away we've got EC3, Killian Dane, Lars Sullivan, Ricochet, Velveteen Dream, and Adam Cole, baby. What a match. To start off the event with that match, that's setting the damn bar really high for the entire show. And, unbelievable. I'm not going to be stating who won the match and whatnot. And, absolutely fantastic. It's something that you definitely need to watch. Definitely. Just unbelievable. And I mean, unbelievable. Some of the stuff that happens in that match. But then again, that wasn't the only match that had some shock twists, turns, and got you on the edge of your seat. Because the other match in question that does compete against the opening match was the last match, the main event, which was Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa in a unsanctioned match, and the reason why it had to be an unsanctioned match, because technically Johnny Gargano wasn't under contract for NXT and whatnot, but if Gargano won, he would be reinstated to NXT and get his job back. But if Tommaso Ciampa won, he would be once and for all gotten rid of Johnny Gargano from NXT. This match was brutal, barbaric, and unbelievable. And I mean unbelievable. It's something I recommend anybody watching, and it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Now, the match I think that was the match of the night, and this is my personal preference. Some of you may disagree and whatnot, but this is my personal preference because of the storytelling. Simply because it told a story, a fantastic story, and whatnot. So anyway, apologies for the, you might have just heard some shouting in the background. With somebody after, possibly a family member and whatnot. So don't worry about that. But anyway, back to it. Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa was the match of the night. Absolutely unbelievable. It's something I definitely won't forget, and something I'd recommend you all to watch. As for the other matches, you know what? I've just mentioned the two main matches that you've just got to watch the events. By no means necessary any of these matches, undersold or anything, because these were also belters and whatnot. Because you've got Ember Moon defending her NXT Women's Championship against Shayna Baszler. Shayna Baszler. I do apologise if I mispronounced it. You've got a triple threat tag team match for the NXT Tag Team Championship and the Dusty Road Tag Team Classic Trophy, which involves the Undisputed Era, who are actually defending their tag team titles under the Freebird rule, because Adam Cole had to pull double duty and defend the tag team titles with Kyle O'Reilly, as Bobby Fish is currently injured, against the Authors of Pain and the team of Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne. Definitely a great match to watch. And the last match to mention is for the NXT Championship, where you got Andre Cien Almas, defending his championship against Aleister Black, and Cien Almas has got Selena Vega in his corner, possibly going to be doing, trying her best to help Cien defend his NXT Championship. But that show is absolutely fantastic. Recommend it to anybody to check it out and whatnot. So with that all being said, I hope you all do consider looking up into purchasing the WWE Network for just $9.99. And just remember, supposedly you also get your first month free, which means if you get it right now, you could potentially be getting WrestleMania with, for the first, during the free month. Look into it. Now, speaking of WrestleMania 34, there's plenty happening at that show. We've got, people wondering who is Braun Strowman's tag team partner, potentially. Is it Big Show? Is it going to be Bray Wyatt in his new, new incarnation version of himself? Is it going to be Elias and whatnot? Only time will tell. But if anybody's interested in hearing my views and thoughts about WrestleMania 34 and what my predictions are, just check out the me predictions that I've literally posted on the blog, under the blog section on the Burning Truth website, which is www.theburningtruthuk.com, and clicking on the blog section, and it should be the top post, and the most recent post. Just give it a check out, and I will state, I don't expect to get all of them right and whatnot. If I do, I will be making sure to get my lottery numbers on that week, if I do. But absolute fantastic show to look forward to for WrestleMania 34, and I can't wait for it tonight. Especially, is Undertaker going to be coming back to fight John Cena? Brock Lesnar versus Roman. I am actually looking forward to that. Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles going to bring down the house, and it's going to be absolutely brilliant. I can honestly say I'm also looking forward to seeing Ronda Rousey's debut for WWE at WrestleMania, seeing what they come up with, what story that they're going to tell. The thing is, this is WrestleMania. WrestleMania is the time where anything can happen. Anything can happen. So, with that, I do recommend if anybody is listening to this broadcast, they're most likely a wrestling fan. Please just check it out. Don't miss WrestleMania 34. It's one to watch. Now, with that also being said, what's been also been getting advertised as well is a film that is about Paige's, pretty much her life story, which stars The Rock, numerous actors and whatnot, which is Fighting With My Family. There has been some advertisements on the WWE Network and whatnot. I recommend, if anybody is interested in finding out Paige's story, do check it out. And I will state, get the appearance of The Rock just on a small trailer. Absolutely fantastic. Funny as hell. Something you definitely want to watch. I can see this being absolute gold, and I cannot wait to see when that comes out. Unfortunately, at the moment, we haven't got a date when it's going to be coming out, to watch. At the moment, it's just coming soon. I cannot wait until that date is dropped so we can all go watch it. Now, that's all the potential big news in regards to WWE Impact. I could be mentioning some of the ROH news which involves Bullet Club. You know what? I'll mention it now quickly. Cody Rhodes versus Kenny Omega at ROH. I believe it was Supercard. Absolutely, they had a knock it out of the park match. Now, unfortunately, it looks like Kenny Omega lost the match, and that Cody Rhodes has won the match. But I wouldn't say that feud is over yet. There's more to come for that, but more news on that possibly on a at a later date and whatnot, possibly on another episode. I'll be probably covering that. Now let's move over to British wrestling. Now, upcoming on April 14th, the Academy Pro Wrestling's on tour. They're not at the usual place. What's going on? But they've also got the usual place, which is the following week, which will be the 21st. So they've got that event. But I will state, Academy Pro Wrestling on tour, April 14th, Whitchurch, Civic Hall, High Street, Whitchurch, postcode SY13 1AX. For all ticket prices and how to get tickets, I recommend you hop on to the Facebook page of the Academy Pro Wrestling, give that a check out and see how you can get your tickets, because that is definitely going to be one that you do not want to miss. And if you want to get the opening times as well, check out on their social media page and whatnot. I do recommend you do check it out. Now, the one thing I'm going to be definitely be mentioning about that show is the King of the Kingdom match, which is where Joe Black is going to be defending his championship against the Heavyweight Drill, the Northern Bruiser, the first ever King of the Kingdom champion. Now, what is so special about this show is the fact that it's almost close, if I'm not mistaken, 1 year to when Drill became the first ever King of the Kingdom champion. And, it's going to be one hell of a match. It's going to be a knockout, drag-out street fight. Definitely one to watch. I recommend. I can't wait to see it myself. I'm definitely going to be there to watch that match. It's something I do not want to miss. I want to make sure I've got my butt on the seat, squarely looking at the ring, watching that match. So if anybody is interested in attending the Academy Pro Wrestling on Tour, which will be just as stated, April 14th, which is Civic Hall, High Street, Woodchurch, SY13 1AX. Now, last week, unfortunately, I cut a bit of a mention I wanted to bring up, which is United Wrestling Live, and that was due to me having to get some things off my chest, which is to do with Big Rich. One thing I will state, Big Rich, that little challenge, what I mentioned last week, I meant every single word of it. You do that. If you doubt me, if you do doubt me, come find me, and I will show you there and then. But that aside, I just thought to give United Wrestling a quick shout out and whatnot. You do absolutely some fantastic shows and whatnot. I've wrestled for them numerous times and whatnot. I'm hoping to get back to wrestling with them again. Who knows? Potentially, if necessary, me versus Big Rich. Bookie, please. And whatnot, because I won't get this. I want that match more than anything because I feel as though the last time I underestimated him. I paid the price and it ended up costing me some time off and whatnot. And I felt like I've let the United faithful, fans down and whatnot. I will not make that mistake again. I won't make that mistake again. So I hope that United Wrestling Management do hear this and have heard the comments I made last week and do potentially book a match. Any match they want, I will have that match against Rich, any place, anytime, anywhere. But for now, that aside, I just want to get some interesting, some big news for United Wrestling, with United Wrestling Live. Now, anybody who's a fan who goes to United Wrestling Live and whatnot, I'm going to be basically mentioning their Facebook page. Because the reason why I'm going to mention their Facebook page is because if anybody's interested in attending their shows for free, because they do actually give out some tickets for free to their show. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, potential family tickets. I'm not 100% sure of what they are. But they do actually have some rules and regulations. You can actually win some tickets for their upcoming shows most of the time. If anybody's interested in finding out on how to find if they are doing it this week or any month that they are doing it, check out their Facebook page, which is United Wrestling Live UK. Check it out, because if they have got a post up stating about it, like it, share it, and you'll most likely get your name put into a hat, and who knows, you could be a potential winner. So if anybody's interested in some free tickets for United Wrestling, go to their social media on Facebook, which is United Wrestling Live UK, and give them a check out, like, share, and whatnot. Now, with all that being said, the news I wanted to give that is to do with last night. Now, last night was special. I didn't expect it to be as special as what it was. I attended a wrestling show called Fusion Pro Wrestling. It was their debut show. I've actually dealt with some of the management there that they were involved in a company that was forming. Some of the guys that are involved are some of the guys that were involved with a company called CCW and whatnot, Colwyn County Wrestling. And I will state what they do is absolutely fantastic. And as some of you may have seen or may not have seen, if anybody checks out the Matt Burns page on social media, they would have seen me put a post up in regards to the show, which I will state. Absolutely fantastic show. Some great matches from pillar to post. Great action. They got some of the top notch. They're getting some top notch stars, but they also showed off some of their, what are now graduated students from their wrestling school. And I will state, some of them have got a good, they've got some diamonds in the rough. And I will state, who knows, this could be, the platform that any upcoming, aspiring wrestler wants to have and whatnot. So, Fusion Pro Wrestling, I thought I'd give them a check out because they seem to be wanting to build. They seem to be focused on potentially building up the current generation while also preparing for the next, which is something I do agree with massively. As much as it's good to focus on the current generation, you've always got to look for the next generation, the next one that's going to be replacing as well. So, absolute respect in regards to that, because giving back to the wrestling community is always absolutely fantastic. Now, and one thing I will also state, they also had their, they wanted to crown their first ever Fusion Pro Grand Champion, which ended up being in a 20 man, I believe it was a 20-man gauntlet rumble. No, it's either gauntlet or grand rumble. That was a 20-man grand rumble of some sort. Absolutely fantastic. It's almost like the Royal Rumble. 20 men entered. Now, congratulations on the actual winner, which is G-Force. I've had some battles against him in the past at said the CCW and whatnot. I will state he's no slouch. Good to see that he's turned a leaf. He's got the Grand Pro, the Grand Pro wrestling fans behind him and whatnot. Absolutely fantastic. He's changed a new leaf and whatnot, and he's got the faithful behind him. What was also interesting and I will say congratulations to him on winning, on getting that big victory and whatnot. Now, there was something that did actually happen during the 20-man match, Rumble match, which is there was, a moment when a former, somebody who I used to call a former colleague in regards to AJ Hughes, as I've known him up and down the wrestling road and whatnot. I have faced him many times. I've tagged with him and whatnot. I thought his attitude was going to be on the good side and whatnot. However, he seemed to have gone off that bad path at the show. He pretty much turned his back on the fans. Now, while the 20-man match, to crown the new champion was going on, there was a moment where he decided to give me some lip and dare me again in the ring. Now, for me personally, I wasn't informed by management or whatnot to get involved and whatnot. I was there as a fan. He made the offer, the challenge, and I thought about it for a moment, but then I thought, no, I won't do it. I want to be professional. Now, what shocked me more than anything was the fact that literally not long after he just made the challenge to dare him again in the ring, I suddenly hear my entrance music calling out the next person. Had management known I was there? Had they just given me a personal invite? Well, as much as I could have second guessed it and whatnot, I was not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. I heard my music, so I pretty much emptied my pockets and dove into that ring, and lo and behold, I taught a lesson to AJ Hughes. Now, unfortunately, it seemed that management, with my music playing, management might have not made the security aware of it, And when they quickly jumped up, tried to get me out the ring, and pretty much just stated, "You're not meant to be in the match." I was like, "I've been invited. I've just heard my music. Did you not hear it?" And whatnot. And while I was distracted, I got pretty much eliminated from the match by AJ Hughes, who then pretty much stated quite loudly to the security, "Get the fans out. Keep the wrestling fans out of the wrestling ring." Yeah, well, if I recall, I also retorted back to AJ Hughes, "I ain't a fan, I'm a wrestler. You should know that more than anything, because I've kicked your ass on more than one occasion, and I've just kicked your ass now." Now, I would assume from there, I'm thinking to myself, what the hell's just gone on? Now, I then quickly get approached by the head of management of Fusion Pro Wrestling, which is Dick Chambers. He quickly gets in my face stating, "What the hell are you doing in my ring?" And what? And I was like, whoa! I thought I was invited. My music played, and whatnot. My music played. Why is my music playing? Nobody else was coming out. I did give it a few seconds. And I will state, as much as he is head of management, I saw him doing a few crafty tricks and whatnot to make sure the guys he wants to win and whatnot. The guys he wanted to be handpicked to be his champion, which I thought was a bit dirty and underhandedly. If you're gonna have a wrestling company, let them fight it out fair and square and see who the real champion is. I'm just glad that somebody did get the win who is a fighting champion, and as I stated, G-Force, absolute brilliant guy, will be a fighting champion. But if head of management is stating to me he didn't give orders to play my music and whatnot, and effectively told me to sit my arse down and whatnot, who gave the order to play my music? Who gave the order for my music to be played? Now, I've got two questions that need to be answered. One, who gave that said order? And secondly, whoever gave the order, if they are management, do they want me on the roster? If so, I would be more than happy to be on the roster. I'd be more than happy to always, to give back to the wrestling community. I'd be more than happy to entertain the wrestling fans at that show. Because the one thing I will give to any paying wrestling fan, I will give it 110%. I will put my heart, my soul into this. So effectively, in a way, you could say this potentially could be my big return to wrestling, or just a bit of it, oh, who knows? It's a way possible for me to return. So, was it my big return? I'll let you be the judge of it and whatnot. If not, who knows? This could lead to my big return, and I will state, I need to find out what's going on. Potentially, the management could be looking into this, but then again, Dick Chambers might not want this being investigated because he looks a bit like he doesn't want me around because I might mess up some devious plan he might have. Well, guess what? I'm going to investigate it as well and hopefully get to the bottom of it. Now, with all that being said, that's going to be potential. That's the potential wrap up for the news for this episode. I'm going to give out some lovely plugs out to the UK Wrestling Media, also known as UKWM. Check them out. They do they always do some fantastic photography work and do actually record some great matches and whatnot. If any wrestling companies are interested in getting some photography work as well, basically any media work, give them a check out. That is UK Wrestling Media, also known as the UKWM. I'm giving another shout out to JG Printing and Stitching. I've had some work done from them. Fantastic. Honestly, can't praise them much more and whatnot. I recommend anybody who possibly wants to look up this news and whatnot, or who knows. Recommend this one, which is changes for health and well-being. For healthy minds and whatnot. Check it out. You never know. You might find something interesting about yourself. You might find some interesting facts and news. And who knows, that information that's on there could it either potentially help yourself or even help help somebody who you know. I'll give another shout out to the Team 4-Star. Hopefully, at the moment, Dragon Ball Z Bridge series is actually currently on hiatus, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, hopefully that'll be brought back. I'm giving another shout out to the New Breed. Fantastic band, great work. Can't wait to go see them again. And the next band I'm going to be giving another shout out to is the Camens. Apologies if I mispronounced that wrong. I will state, absolute fantastic work and whatnot. Check them out. They've just recently done the music video. Check them out on their social media and whatnot. Botchamania, as always, check them out. Matthew, you do some fantastic work. Keep it up. This plug ain't going anywhere. This plug for Botchamania is going nowhere. It's always going to be there. And I recommend anybody who's into gaming to check out Barely Average Studios, as I know of a colleague who does some interesting reviews and whatnot. Check them out, Barely Average Studios on YouTube. If anybody's interested in regards to the plugs and links and whatnot I just mentioned, you can actually find all the links to them. If you don't know where to look, just go onto my website, onto the Burning Truth website, which is www.theburningtruthuk.com. Click on links, and you'll see all the links to the plugs I've just mentioned. But at the same time, you haven't just got the links to go to. You've also got the merchandise, where you can get some snazzy t-shirts and some fancy mugs. Who knows, and whatnot. Just give it a check out, and whatnot. But anyway, that's going to be a wrap up for this week's episode of The Burning Truth. I'll hopefully catch you either at the next broadcast, the next interview, or the next review. Until then, I always recommend you check out your local wrestling and stay safe. Till then, catch you later, ladies and gentlemen, dudes and dudettes.